Honestly, coming to a place like this and seeing digital kids like this, I think should bring joy to everyone. Because not just for me, but anywhere in the world, it's hard to find digital kids who can fill a hall like this. So I think now, in a place like Nuwara, there are enough digital kids to fill a hall. Generally, in digital education, they say 50% of a child's problems are solved if you can provide them with a computer and internet. That means no one needs to help them hold a mouse or a digital keyboard because they figure out things on their own if we can bring them closer. The whole world is talking about how to bring a child closer to a computer with internet. Then 50% of the problem is solved from there. After that, the real challenge is how to provide proper education. In a country like Sri Lanka, kids fail twice based on the cultural income levels connected to their parents. Everywhere in the world, there are two things, poverty and wealth, and everyone knows that. How did this difference happen? It happens because there is no money for education, nothing else. In Sri Lanka, children study to go to university, but even then, only 40,000 students can go to university. I'm talking about kids who are 19 years old. Then, out of the 360,000 born, nothing is said about what happens to the 320,000. But those 320,000, if they have money, can still go to another campus, and many of these problems are solved. So this is not a problem limited to our country. The only thing that can differentiate my children from these children is money. My children get money, but poor children don't. However, everyone says we should give the best to the children in the world, meaning we should provide them with the best education. But we are used to giving only to our own children. If I wanted to, I could have just given the best education to my children and stopped there. No, it's not just me, especially my wife as well, because we have 3 children. But even though we have 3, we treat the children of the rest of Sri Lanka the same way we treat our own. The only difference is that our 3 children are connected to us through DNA. Beyond that, when these 3 are raised with us, we give them the cultural things we have. But there's no way to give these to the other children. That's why, after much thought, we started DP education. Especially, I must say thank you to my wife, because she thinks just like I do. And that's the only reason we could do something like this. Usually it's known that wives aren't always keen on what their husbands want to do. So that's why it's generally like that. If the husbands do the wives like, they are very happy. If the wives don't like it, it's a bit harder for the husbands to do it. We are coming in first place in Asia regarding school education, meaning we have the best school education. Does that mean Japan teaches better than us? No. Does Singapore teach better than us? No. Do India, China, Malaysia or Korea teach better than us? No. But now that education is available on your handphones. If you put a YouTube package worth about 500 rupees, you can provide all this education to the children. But do you do that? No. Because parents are accustomed to staying within our culture. What we all talk about is the Pinketa, the precious country of Sri Lanka. When we refer to this as a Pinketa, people expect that we have minerals. We have phosphate in Epaula. We have mineral sand from Puimode and we have ilmenite. Now, if we make use of these resources, someone will help our children. However, the idea of the Pinketa is not just limited to that. The Pinketa represents a time when there were people who could understand Buddhism when the great monks arrived. This means that the understanding of Buddhism signifies a vast education that exists in this precious country of Sri Lanka. However, since the 1980s, the direction that the world has been heading has not been followed in the Pinketa. Therefore, people have not upgraded. Now you know that by 2020, 5G had arrived, but in 1980, there was only 1G. Can you work with a 1G phone now? If I give you a 1G phone right now, what would happen? So now everyone in Sri Lanka is like 1G. They can't work. then a country that cannot work is a bankrupt country. A bankrupt country means all families within the country are bankrupt. A few may have survived, but the rest of the people are all bankrupt. Because I've seen those who can come on TV talking about it, and at that time they say we need to circulate the dollar. Dollar reserves have shrunk, but they say we need to circulate it. Don't they realize that this will double the price of petrol? Don't they realize it will double the price of diesel? Don't they understand that when the dollar rate increases, it will double? Now, if the dollar is 330 today, it could one day become 660 without dollar reserves. On that day, the price of petrol per liter will double just like today. That's all. These aren't grand world issues. I see people getting angered up in these simple matters. But I haven't gotten angered up in anything. I view every problem as if I'm at the center, with a score of 0 to 9, while the numbers there are 10. So I take these numbers within 10. If we take a circle, the circumference is 2 5 If you divide this 5 by 22 upon 7, we get 3.14. How did we get 3.14? That means for any circle, this is correct. So if we get good thoughts from 3.14 from 10, is that person a bad person? And if something like 3.14 doubles, meaning if 6.28 comes, is that person someone who is happy? I think about whether a triple would make them very happy. So I'm considering all this within 10 because I always see that there's no question about the world's problems. If there are problems, some can be broken down into smaller parts. Because the biggest issue is that people try to solve problems all at once. No, some problems can often be solved by breaking them into pieces, where about 80% of the problem can be solved. But some people need to learn everything completely. Now, the best example of the best school education in Asia is in your hands with DP education. So what do our children do? Our children can't perform magic. Our children go to exams. If they get a score of 85, they sit with their mothers to see how they got the remaining 15 wrong. After the exam, our child knows everything for a perfect score of 100 out of 100. What you all do is when they get 85, you make a little fuss about it. Then the child only knows about 85. They don't know the remaining 15. Now, I am talking about the 6th grade, but when they move to the 7th grade, the child doesn't know that 15%. They proceed to the 7th grade without knowing. At that point, they score 75. This is a good student. So what you all have to do after the exam is to address the child's shortcomings. Because I know that parents are always looking to see if they can send their child to a good school after 5 years of birth. When we say good, we mean a popular school. But today, with DP education, we have established smart classrooms in 675 schools. Those popular schools are just 3 in Colombo from the top 20. Devi Balika is ranked 2nd, Visakha 4th, and Mucius 17th. None of the schools you think are popular made it to the top 20. However, you have something better than even the top 20 right in your hands. Sometimes parents send their children 10 to 15 kilometers away thinking it's for a good school. But this one is right within arm's reach. I won't go into any more detail about this because today is a day for us to be happy. But I said this because as parents, you have a responsibility to guide your children through their school education. In the field of digital education and IT, becoming a software engineer is a dream of mine too. I am capable of achieving it. I have done it and I continue to do so. So don't treat becoming a software engineer as a big issue. In the morning, I spoke with these sons and daughters. And after that conversation, I realized something more. Nowadays, by the 6th grade, children are saying, I'm going to be a doctor. I'm going to be an engineer. So if the child wants to become a doctor, parents need to have knowledge about which school to send their child for A-levels. You need to have a 10-year plan for the child. Then, which school do most students pass to get into medical college? If you don't do that, it's not going to work out. I'll tell you how to approach it. By now, 92 campuses have been opened. With all 92 campuses open, they should create an app for children to select their career paths, and we can assign homework through that app. That's all you need to do. Whether in the 6th or 7th grade, any child can use the app to choose the career they want. There are about 5 career blocks, and based on the chosen career, the app will show what subjects the child needs to study after A-levels, whether it's engineering, medicine, accounting or IT. Afterward, it will also show how many students in the school are doing A-levels and how many of them are taking subjects related to that career. This morning, I met a girl who wants to be a doctor. So I asked her, how many students from your school get into medical college after A-levels? She didn't know. I think this can be done through an app where you only need to input the data. If we hold an open competition in Sri Lanka for students in campuses to create the best app, we can select the best one and use it for homework. Then we can start preparing the children right from now. Because if the school doesn't lead to medical college, at least we need to think about whether there's a good tuition teacher. If they go to that tuition teacher and still don't pass, we need to start now by collaborating with DP Education to help the child become a doctor. Because if you are with DP Education, none of those obstacles matter. You've seen it yourself. The top scorer in MAP, even though he attends Royal College, studies with us. That girl who got into medical college also studied with us. The boy from Gaul studied with us as well. They have schools, but they learn from us. So I think everyone now understands what I said about school education. I used to dream about taking IT to the top, and now I've fulfilled that dream. So I've paved the way for children to mentally and happily follow that path without any problems. That's why I have no issues with it. If we take IT campus, 92 IT campuses have already been opened. Now 80,000 students are learning at the campuses and 125,000 students are learning online. That's a total of 205,000. My goal is to reach 1 million students. We've already achieved 20% of that. Reaching 200,000 means we are 20% of the way to 1 million. So now, how much knowledge do these students need to learn in IT? In America, children started using the Code.org platform in 2013, and the president at the time came forward and encouraged students to get qualified with Code.org. That's what we are doing today. For students who complete 100 projects and 100 homeworks on Code.org, because those students have already learned for a value worth over 1 million. Today, I want all the mothers here to know one thing. Your child has already absorbed knowledge worth 1 million rupees. Now, how many students have completed 100 projects and are eligible for certificates? It's 155, including those who completed 200 projects in just 7.5 months. 500 million worth of knowledge has been gained in the Nuwara district alone. There's no need to wait another 7.5 months because at the beginning there were fewer students. But after another 4.5 months, another 500 million will be achieved, making it 1 billion in total. That means 100 crore worth of education will be completed by these children. By this time, these 4.5 months pass, we've planned something. It's something that hasn't been done anywhere in the world. We are opening a DP Silicon Valley office for students to work. Our first action is to open a campus. By the end of the year, we'll be opening the DP Silicon Valley office. This office is meant for students to working. As a father of a daughter, I know that sending your child 100 kilometers away is not practical. With the current environment, sending them to Colombo, placing them in a boarding house and expecting them to study and work does not work. That's why I thought of opening this office in the hometowns of students who study at this campus. So if your child is studying at BPIP campus, I believe around 50 to 70 students can study in each temple. Then we'll find vacant buildings in the remaining temples in the divisional secretaries area. And we'll open full-fledged campuses and offices there. Even in temples, we need to create an additional source of income. So I'm hopeful because there are 12,800 temples and there are about 3,000 mosques, churches and covings. If each of these places has a vacant building, we'll give about 3,000 rupees per student to use them. If 20 students are accommodated, that place would earn about 60,000 rupees. If we can accommodate 100 students, that would generate around 300,000 rupees per month. That's the kind of plan we are working on. I think in about 5 more months, the space in the temples will be filled with around 60 to 70 students. After that, I believe we can open another DP Silicon Valley office in a nearby temple building. So I want to say that among the first 10 offices we open, we will also provide you with a DP Silicon Valley office. I think we'll create this very soon. And once it's done, you will be able to see that there's a DP Silicon Valley office right in your village, where your local IP software engineers can work. Usually after I do something, I look ahead to see what happens next. Because if we want to reach the whole world and bring programming work for these software engineers, we need to create something like 1 million of them. After that, we need to build offices. Once we build all of this, all these problems will be over. The dollar will never go back to 660 as you are thinking, because all these students will be earning in dollars. Once they start earning in dollars, the value of the dollar won't increase again. Otherwise, if you just keep thinking without doing anything, what will happen next is that the dollar will rise again and the price of petrol will increase. After that, there won't be a need for QR codes because even if they give you 20 liters, you won't have the money to buy it. So I think within about a month, we'll build this office where everyone, including daughters and sons, will have the opportunity to work in a Silicon Valley office right in your own village. Then you would be able to see how students work in the Silicon Valley office. I always think not about the problems, but about the solutions, because thinking about problems doesn't help. Now, even on YouTube, the videos with the most views are the ones where someone is being harshly criticized. Why? Because people have gotten used to living with problems. That means you can talk for an hour, but you won't learn anything from it, though it's pleasant to listen to. So now, just like students are learning, parents need to upgrade to the next level as well. Otherwise, if the child is on 5G and the mother is on 1G, there's going to be a disconnect. Even taking a bit of advice from children who have passed the 100th project is okay for parents, because they understand how to solve problems. So I think once you have a clear software engineer, there's no need to send your child far away. When we choose a temple, a church, or any other place, we look for one with at least 20 or 30 children nearby. Then we prioritize the temples or places near where these children live, because otherwise the children won't be able to travel far. There needs to be access to a bus. In the future, I'm thinking that if we talk to the chief monks in Nuwara and the remaining temples and plan to build similar offices, we can have a plan ready by next year. Because I believe that within the next year, at least 150 to 200 students from here will become software engineers. Then all 200 of them will need offices to work in. Now, today, do any of you know if there's an office in Nuwara where IT work or software engineers are employed? You don't know, right? Why? Because there aren't any software engineers. And if there are no software engineers, no one is going to come and set up an office. Who are they going to hire after setting up the office? That's why I think whether it's in a temple with a chief monk, a church with a priest, a Hindu kovil with a pusari, or a mosque with an imam, they all need to be educated. Because if we can't build a proper society, it's no surprise when countries go bankrupt. When countries go bankrupt, if you really look into it, it's essentially our families going bankrupt. That means if all families become prosperous, that connection of prosperous families makes the country prosperous. So I think I've explained it clearly enough now.